Welcome back, everyone. From the break, we're here with the Paradise League FoC tournament number 1. We have semifinal number 2 coming at you with a best-of-3 series between Hmnos Yaipen on the Legion side taking on Gr8t on the Hellborn side. I will be your main shoutcaster, What You Got, and I will be joined here by a co-caster. He goes by FoC. How you doing today, FoC?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. I'm just here to cast some great HoN games from 2 top-tier medium-level teams. Hopefully, it'll be great.
Pun intended, right? Because we have Gr8t here on the Hellborn side.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So unintentional pun. Okay. Good. All right. So I haven't really been catching too much of this tournament, but I'm not sure if you've been watching most of it. Is there like a favorite here for this series, or anything you're expecting to see here coming out in game number 1?
That's a good question. From at least from like what I've seen so far, it seems that the teams are somewhat similar in terms of skill level, but it does seem like the team that we saw in the previous series. What is your something? What is their name again? It's the one with Certes and some other people. They seem like
your education. I think.
What is your education? That's the correct name. Yeah. From what I can see, they seem to be the main contender for this tournament. But maybe the series will give us an idea of who's going to be the favorite in going into the grand finals. So,
okay. So expecting a pretty good best of 3 then here. So that's always good to hear. All right, we got the bans already done. Let's go through them really quickly here before the picks do come out. We got Magnus, Monarch, and Flux banned from the Legion side, and then Demented Shaman, Puppet Master, and Sapphire getting banned out here from Hellborn.
It's interesting. I mean, they all seem like somewhat like reasonable bans. At least from like the Pro League, I'd say that Monarch, Puppet Master, Flux, Sapphire, all pretty usual bans. I know that the Latin team on Legion side, they do play a lot of Sapphire. I think Luigi plays that a lot. Which one is he in this team?
He is Chalfa.
Chalfa. So yeah, it seems it's targeted ban towards Chalfa. Magnus is just a general strong hero. Maybe Hellborn team did some like studying on what heroes that the Legion team likes to play. I guess not really any of the bands stand out so far from what I can tell.
Yeah, it looks pretty normal, I would say. And side note, for anyone who's wondering, Chalfa is a Peruvian dish, and if you click on his profile page, it's got a nice little picture there of what it actually is. So, just a little random fun fact. All right, so back to the game. We have a first pick Myrmidon coming out. Not your typical first pick, I would say, but probably going to be a support hero, I think. Maybe position 4.
Slightly unusual pick. I believe Myrmidon was buffed recently, not too long ago.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. And I think that might make him slightly more playable.
Was it the ultimate that was buffed? Like he gets cleave like without the or splash, without the staff now, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I'm not entirely sure because there was some things where he was buffed and then it was for an unbuffed again. So I'm not entirely sure, but I do believe that he was slightly buffed. So he probably is maybe somewhat viable. But he's still, I would say, a pretty unusual hero to start out with when there's a lot of other pretty reasonable first pick heroes. So.
Yeah, I agree. We have Pearl and Armadon. That looks a little bit more, I'll say, normal. But, I mean, Pearl, we see that hero picked up all the time. Even very early on in drafts. Pretty S-tier support right now. And then paired with the Armadon. That's a hero that's pretty annoying to deal with once he kind of gets going.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think both heroes are pretty strong currently. We haven't really seen that much Armadon like in the previous tournaments, but our team specifically tried to scrim with it one time, and it seemed to be pretty strong from what I could tell. So, and I've also seen like countless situations that he performs pretty well in just the TMM. So, I think with the right game, that hero can be very powerful.
Hellborn used a lot of their overtime. They got 24 seconds left, but Legion did round off their first phase here with a Prophet and a Calamity. So that's looking to me like it could be a lane, possibly for the short lane, to run that Calamity as a carry. And that is a hero that I know Luis loves to play. So they did ban away his Sapphire, but they left open the Calamity. So I want to get your take on the Calamity.
Well, I kind of agree with you that I've seen the Latin guys. They really like to play Calamity as well. I think it's like in the current meta, I think it's a relatively weak hero because it's not like a particularly strong laner. From what I know, and I also like because it used to be a pretty strong laner, but she was kind of nerfed pretty hard in a lot of ways, so it kind of took away from her early game. And I also just don't think it's like the hardest scaling hero. I think if you can like kind of get to the mid game and you can get some like decent tempo items like an Energizer perhaps and some Ghost Matchers, and maybe you start out with like working towards your Dawnbringer. I think the hero can be pretty strong for like team fight presence and stuff. It's also a really good backline hero. But I'm just a bit concerned that the hero can like either you kind of get pushed out of the lane or you can get out carried in the later stages of the game. But I'm curious to see how they'll make it work. I still think it's not like a completely awful pick. We have run it in the past with my previous team, and it hasn't really been changed since then. But obviously, a lot of other heroes have been buffed since then. So it's a bit unusual, but I think if it's a comfort hero, it still makes sense to go for it. I think so.
I gotta say, I agree with pretty much all of that. That was I gotta say that was spot on.
Okay.
I think with the Calamity, you're gonna want to be going for more like that mid game style type of draft. So we'll see how they finish it off. But we have second banning phase already completed here. The Hellborn team bans away Electrician, Defiler, and Zephyr, which looks to me like some pretty strong solo laning options. And then on the reverse, we have the Legion side banning away Hellbringer, Magebane, and Oogie. So some more maybe counters to maybe the Calamity with the Magebane. I don't know is that even really a counter or not really, right?
No, I don't think so.
Carry.
I think maybe the thought process was that like they have the armor, which is like not like a super hard carry, and then maybe they're looking for another one who can kind of complement like this kind of frontline tanky business. I suppose Magebane isn't really too concerned by like Calamity's ulti, and she is kind of reliant on mana, and she doesn't really get too well if she gets like kind of run down. So I kind of think the Magebane ban makes sense. So.
Sorry, I saw a Solstice pick coming out. And although my jungler tingling vibe kicked in, I actually have a feeling this is going to be a laning Solstice because I have seen them run the Prophet Solstice as a combo lane. So
I think it's a pretty standard lane. I've seen it like run in a lot of different teams in the past as well. Because it's just they're both really strong for laning together. I'm still kind of curious because the team, at least from what I can see, they look very squishy. Like the front line is Solstice, and if he has a rough game or like a rough start, and he's not like one of the more tanky strength heroes anyway. You don't really run him as a frontline tanker. He's just mostly like a like a nuker kind of thing. So they do look pretty squishy all around. But I guess the total nuke on the Hellborn side isn't really that high, other than if you get to like the mid late game. But it does look like a really squishy lineup they're running.
Yeah, so Pyromancer was one of the last picks for Legion, and then Hellborn. They did pick up Hammer, I think Hammer NG on third and fourth pick, and then last pick Lodestone. So they rounded off their draft pretty solid, I would say, complementing Armadon a bit with some initiation.
Okay, so this ball is actually great. Before like seeing the how they're gonna lane it, how do you think they're gonna lane it? Because you think they're just gonna go with the standard 2-1-2 with the like long lane Solstice plus Prophet, and then like Pyromancer mid and Calamity Merman on bottom?
Yeah, so at first glance, I would say Legion's 2-1-2, and then Calamity is very capable of solo laning if she's in a 1v1, so they might just throw the second support, which would most likely be the Myrmidon, to tri-lane with the Solstice. I think ideally you want 2v2 lane with the Solstice because he's kind of level dependent, but I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world to have like two like decently strong supports laning with him to make pressure at the same time. So I think 2-1-2 to start would be probably their best option, but we'll see where the supports end up going.
Do you think it's out of the question to tri-lane the Calamity on long lane and then send the Solstice to solo 1vs1 bottom lane?
That's actually a good point. Actually, that could be quite good. I think Calamity is kind of similar though, right? To like,
she is.
I think she might be even more level dependent than the Solstice is.
But they are 3 range heroes, so I guess they're all 3 like relatively squishy lane range heroes. But And I suppose if you like lane those against Hammerstorm, Engineer Pearl, it might be a little bit troublesome. So looking at the Hellborn lineup, how do you think they're going to lane this?
Yeah, so they have the options, like you said, to run that tri lane, which that's a very, very strong looking tri lane on paper with very strong supports, and the Hammer has initiation as the carry to set up for Keg.
Yeah, it looks really easy to play that lane.
And then they have the two strength heroes in Armadon and Lotso, which are great at just 1v1ing or even 1v2ing. Like both these heroes would not mind at all to be 1v2. So probably securing Hammer Farm would make the most sense, but I don't think they're locked in to do that. They could do like a Lodestone Engineer somewhere, either long most likely to create pressure or short, depending on whether or not they want to avoid this Legion makeup of like the Solstice combo.
Yeah,
I think they're fine to fight it though with the Hammerstorm. That's a pretty strong lane they drafted themselves.
Yeah, I think I'm like kind of, at least personally, I kind of like the idea of just sending the Lodestone Suicide and then like running the Armada mid lane. And then you start out with the tri-lane top lane, and then like if there's no pressure there, you can just send one support to help either the middle lane or the long lane. I guess Armada doesn't really need a support that much because he doesn't really pressure that much other than with his spine burst. So and he just needs levels for the most part. But I just don't really see how. I guess if you send the Armada long lane with like a Pearl or something, but that just seems odd because then you're gonna run the Lodestone middle. So I think it's just makes the most sense to run the Armada mid lane and then. Okay, they seem to be tri-laning long lane.
And that's also an option they have. Not too bad.
I guess I don't know if the intention is to pressure or to dodge the enemy tri-lane, because the only at least personally, I do think it's like a bit more risky to run an aggressive tri-lane rather than a safe tri-lane, especially on a hero like Hammerstorm where you also kind of want to do you want to farm stacks at some point, but if your supports are in the enemy jungle, you're really kind of forced to stack the enemy jungle, which is also a little bit of a risky business. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Since they are looking to run the Hammerstorm long lane, that's going to not give them that option to, sit back and stack the jungle, get him maybe that early Elder Parasite or whatever farming tool he wants, and then he can just go in there and cleave down the stacks. But they want to make some pressure.
It does obviously help the Lodestone have a better start. The Lodestone opted to go for a shield, which isn't that pretty... atypical in that hero, because usually you just go play to level 1 if you're playing. I guess it's not so
typically speaking, you don't want to get shield on Lodestone because you're gonna get plates anyway. Either they're level 2 at the latest, or level 1. If you're really confident, you can just sit in the lane, and then that will not proc with the buckler.
Okay, so they do seem to be avoiding the tri-lane. So it was actually a Solstice tri-lane as you called out, and it's a Calamity solo, and that I think Calamity is going to be struggling against this tri-lane. So if she doesn't see, if they're really kind of mindful about it and don't show Lodestone top, then there might be a chance that they can actually get first blood here with the Calamity.
And I think they saw him with this ward blocking that easy camp, so I think they know he's down here. Well, they should know he's down here anyway, but they know he's down here. And
they might go for dive here.
With him.
They are going to go for but they're going to back off because of the TP coming in. All right, that's good pressure.
It's good to see them using the skills right away, making sure Calamity can't lane safely. And we see the two supports TP immediately, so we're going to evolve into a Calamity tri-lane versus a Hammerstorm tri-lane.
It's going to be interesting. So this is actually kind of what I initially hinted, but it's instead of being on the top lane, it's going to be on the bottom lane. Here's how it's going to play out.
So Solstice will be 1v1 against Lodestone. I actually feel like he could do decently in this matchup.
Yeah, I think Solstice is actually his favorite against Lodestone 1v1 if he plays it well. I think with the continuous heal and the AoE damage from his Solar Slash, I think he's going to be pressuring the Lodestone quite a bit. There is, of course, still the danger of getting killed at level 6 from the Lodestone, but I still think he should be slightly favored if he plays it well.
Yeah, so how would you play this lane? Would you just flash farm and then go into the jungle and cleave the jungle stacks down? Utilize the daytime?
It's actually a good question. I don't really have too much personal experience with that hero. I do think in general, if you are like a hero that can kind of, if you naturally push out the lane, you shouldn't really push too much effort into trying to like make sure your
Bottom
lane
lane,
is...
we have a stun coming out on the Calamity. There's the keg. This could be the first blood. The apple is used by Calamity, and she will fall. The auto attacks take her down. Pearl getting credit for the Bloodlust, and they are pursuing onto the Myrmidon. A slow comes out from the Pearl. There is going to be a hammer stun up, but... Oh, he does get it casted, actually, and the Myrmidon survives on 14 life. He's going to go down to the turret, snipes him out. Engineer has those marchers. That's a 2-0 start here for Gr8t.
This is looking like a very good early game for Gr8t. I think they're kind of leaning it exactly how they want it right now. If they can actually win this tri-lane very hard, it's going to be a... Oh, there he's going challenging the
Engineer's
DD
going to
rune.
actually snipe the DD rune out from Pyro. And he might fall here. He doesn't have the marchers to get away from Armadon. He's trying to go for the kill on the Engineer, but he has the marchers again. And then 4-player collapse. They take out the Pyro. That is unfortunate because I don't know if you caught that, but he was actually waiting on the ramp for his bottle to come. He would have had that rune before the Engineer got there. So just very unfortunate timing there.
A little bit sad that Hammer wasted his stun there, but I suppose it's not a big deal. I guess it has Lunateer mana potion.
Yep, he's currently mana potting up.
Yeah, but as I was saying, in regards to the Solstice, I think it's especially in a hero where you'll just naturally push out the lane. It just generally just makes more sense just to push out the lane pretty hard, and then you just pull the meteor cam and farm that as well, and you'll get like a natural lead instead of trying to like spend worrying too much about like trying to deny to keep the lane. And as you can see,
he's doing
also
that right now as well. He's taking the easy cap. He's currently got like a 8 or so creep lead, which probably has to do with the jungle.
I don't really know if it's even worth it that much to like just because right now he's like I would prefer if he just fully pushed out the lane instead of like because now he's just trading fully with the lodestone, which should be in lodestone's favor. But maybe it's fine to just to. It seems a little bit odd to me. I think you'd better off pulling it, like stacking it at some point and pulling it after you push out the lane and it's clearing it with the double camp. But
yeah, probably. Yeah, I agree. I think you'd rather stack it. You also get more lifesteal when the camps are stacked. Bot lane, Hammer's taking a lot of pressure. Here comes a cart from Myrmidon. Doesn't stun him up, but the auto attacks from Calamity are doing a lot of damage. Here come the dragons as well. Power supply gonna get the HP of Hammerstorm to safety. Engineer, just barely misses that keg. It was on the very verge of hitting Myrmidon there, but both sides trading pressure, no kills happening.
Yeah, he was really holding on to that hammer throw for a long time, and also not choosing to use his galvanize to speed up his moon speed. So that was a little bit questionable, but he did get away at the end of the day. So
how's the mid lane matchup going? Obviously, we saw Pyromancer die once, 20-0 versus 18-3. So he's actually still leading by a little bit on creeps, but I would say overall pretty even.
I do think Pyromancer is one of the not the few heroes, but he's definitely one of the heroes that is able to pressure an Armadon because the constant just spamming the Phoenix wave is just. I know Armadon can kind of push out the wave and pressure with his spine burst, but I think it's hard to do that against the constant Dragon wave, Phoenix wave coming in your face. So.
Yeah, one of the weaknesses of Armadon is that he doesn't have any like burst, so he has to slowly chase you and nuke you down. Gives you a lot of time to think about what you want to do. As we see Engineer coming in for a counter gank here. The Blazing Strike takes out Armadon before Engineer can land a keg stun, and the Illusion Rune not going to be able to secure a kill here back on the Pyromancer.
Slightly wishful thinking, trying to go for the kill. I do think I'm a little bit surprised that Armadon chose to finish his protective talisman.
This ultimate, sorry to cut you off there, hits Engineer square in the face, and the Phoenix Wave takes him out. So that was a very fast kill on the level 2, or well, he hit level 3 there, Engineer.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's just a bit unusual just to finish his protective talisman before he buys the bottle on Armadon, because I feel like you kind of just want to spam your spine burst and push out the wave and then go for runes. That way you can trade pretty easily. Whereas currently he's like. He doesn't really have any like kind of region to keep him full HP at all times. So
I agree. I as much as I love the talisman on Armadon, I think you do want to get the bottle first still.
Yeah,
because if you're going for this route, you're almost saying I've conceded trying to like play aggressive in response. You're just kind of relegated to playing like on the back foot. We have a fight in the bot lane. Myrmidon gets taken out there. Let's see if Legion can get any counter kills as Calamity's running forward. Pearl is out of mana. She does use the Sack Stone, has mana for the Asphyxiate here. She's going to use it on the Calamity. Hammer Throw comes out. Pearl leaps forward, does go down to the dragons, but Engineer and Hammerstorm looking for a counter kill here. Calamity's trying to juke in the trees, but they will be able to bring her down. Yes, they will. Myrmidon gets a double carp, doesn't stun them up. The Weave Field is going to miss, and Hammerstorm on the run here. Engineer throwing the keg a little bit off there as Pyro's coming in to try to thwart back some of this pressure. Hammerstorm running all the way through Legion jungle, trying to...
He poked the cell, but it just disappeared immediately. I don't know what happened there.
Oh, I missed that. He's gonna deny himself to...
Well, that was a good recovery.
He's gonna die to the neutrals. Probably had nowhere to go at that point, so decides to not give up a kill.
The only issue is that like all these constant fighting, it doesn't really like help the Hammer particularly. He's still sitting at 250 GPM, which is just not like, I know his score is 1, 1, and 4, but you really kind of need to pick up some pace on that Hammer Storm if you want to like kind of have him pick up the speed and become a scary carry at some point in the game. Because as it stands currently, it's kind of playing into the mid game power that that Legion is trying to aim for. I feel like where the Calamity is sitting at like a steady 300 GPM, the Solstice is getting a pretty good early game. It seems like he's building into a mat for it. So, and then they have the Pyromans as well. So they're just gonna have a really, really strong mid game, which I'm a bit concerned about for the Hellborn side.
Yeah, so now that we have nighttime, I'm going to be interested to see how Solstice chooses to rotate around the map. And Calamity did pick up her second death, but she still has a little bit more creep farm than the Hammer, and she's sitting about 35 gold per minute higher. So even with the extra death, she's not really doing all that badly. She doesn't have any assists and only 1 kill, whereas the Hammer has 1 kill and 4 assists. So a little interesting there, but... perhaps it was the hero he got the kill on that gave him that boost. Anyway.
Yeah. CS-wise, it's looking like the Hammerstorm is also worse than the Calamity currently. They're not that far apart. It can like it's just 1 kill and it'll swing in the other direction. But it's still like I feel like Hammerstorm is one of those heroes where you generally really want to have a good early game because he just doesn't really play that well from behind. I feel.
Yeah. They'll if you get behind, then you really got to go and get him those stacks so you can kind of get chugging along. But so all right, so what item route you think we'll see from Armadon this game?
So he just picked up investments. He still doesn't have a bottle yet, which I still think he needs to get at some point because it's just the thing that like really works well for middle arm. And then you kind of want to have the continuous mana and health, especially when you're killing stacks. You can run for the rune. I kind of hope that he will pick up like maybe a power supply as well as maybe like shamans and maybe plated creeps or steam boots. He does need to tank up a little bit. They desperately need like a frontliner. I guess they also do have the frontline in the Lowstone with a helm.
I didn't even notice that at all. Not a fan of the black helm.
I'm not.
I know if Touch was there, he'd be not happy.
I think it's slightly unusual. Yeah, it's like because you already have your Lowstone plates, but I do think it as far as I know, it overrides the Lowstone whenever it procs because it chooses the higher block value. So it does have some sort of value as far as I know. But that being said, it's not particularly. It's a really good Shaman's game on Lowstone.
You mean Armadon, right?
No, I mean also like just in general for like Lowstone, whereas like you went for the helm. I feel like Shamans would have somewhat done the same here, except you're like playing but going for this helm, he's really like delaying his PK as well. So he's not really going to be offering his team this kind of like minutes 12, 13 one-shot kill potential until like it'll take him a bit more time to finish off his PK, I presume. So. And he has no chance to keep up and farm with the sources anyway, which I know he's not doing that. But I'm just a bit concerned that
452 GPM. He's the top in the game right now. He's having a really good start.
The Lowstone's going to be very lane bound for a long time. I'm pretty sure with his build because he doesn't have any mana regen. And he doesn't have any like he's not building into PK right now. So if he's not going to be creating the space, then I'm just a bit concerned who is for this Hammerstorm.
Yeah, I did, by the way, I did agree with the Armadon choices. I think Steam Boots and Shamans make a lot of sense. Primarily like mid-game fighting magic damage from Legion and Armadon or the Lowstone. I think one of those will want to build into a barrier riddle, and I think Armadon makes the most sense.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think Lodestone should pursue too many defensive items. I feel like that's not really his role in this team when they already have the front line in the Armadan. I think if Armadan is like tanky enough to like kind of hold off the Legion team for a little while, and then like can kind of bait the Legion team into stacking up, and the Lodestone can come in with the PK and as well as the Hammerstorm, then they might have some decent like fighting potential, but they're still pretty far off those items that are going to make that possible. I think, yeah.
Mid lane Pyromancer. I know you play quite a bit of mid lane from time to time.
Mm.
Mostly known for your carry, but you do play mid lane.
Yeah.
What were we gonna see from Pyro this game? I know there's like different builds we see like in pubs. Sometimes we see Grimoire, sometimes we see spell shards.
Yeah.
Maybe even something else if those aren't good either here.
I think when it comes to boots, I think it's like pretty subjective what is better. I've seen people go Striders. Like I personally don't like Striders too much, but I know a lot of people they like Striders. So I think a very usual route is just Striders into spell shards, which is not bad by any means in this game. I think that's a pretty reasonable route. I mean, you can also just finish like Steam Boots or Ghost Masters, and then I still think spell shards is pretty good this particular game. Because you do need to have some increased damage to actually like take down heroes, because they do have some pretty high HP heroes on the Hellborn side. So I think the extra damage that you get from spell shards is pretty good here. Alternatively, you can maybe go for like a light brand if you want to go like kind of work towards the Grimoire, which is I think a bit more unusual to go as first item, but it's still not bad by any means. There's also the tablet route, which could help, so you don't really get kind of run down by the Armadan slow.
I think they have a lot of in-your-face strength heroes.
Yeah. I think I think those are the main routes from what I think are like the most. Do you have anything else in mind?
I'm a pretty big advocate of spell shards, Pyro. I think especially for dealing with these like heroes that are going to be high HP pool pick up vestments, but also if you go for the Grimoire this game specifically, I think it's going to kind of go against the team's game plan.
I agree.
Which if they go that route, that's going to mean they're going to want to take the game late, and I don't know if they can do that against Armadan plus Hammer. Maybe they could with a Farm Solstice and Calamity. And Pyro can always be providing lots of bursts to bring one guy down fast, but I think that's not going to be ideally what they want to be doing. So I think more of the mid-game items that offer a lot of damage output or utility is going to be a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. I think also like spell shards it allows you to build a PK earlier on, whereas Grimoire, I mean, you could go Lightburn into PK. I do think once you finish the Grimoire, it's probably the better, like it's better than spell shards is in general. But
more damage, yeah, I think so.
And also just like
and everything.
Yeah, exactly. But it does take a while to actually get there, and I feel like, as you said, it kind of plays against their sort of goal in this particular game. So.
Yeah, Grimoire is 5.2k gold, and then a spell shards, if you were to max it out, which you typically, I think, keep at level 1 and then build into a PK, that's 2,000 gold, and then it'd be like another 1,300 or so to get it level 3. That's 3,300. It's a lot cheaper than a full Grimoire, so it allows you to get the peak. You basically get charge 3 and PK the same timing as like the full Grimoire in terms of cost, almost. Bot lane, there's a fight going on. As I didn't even see we were unpaused there. We are back, and there was a dive on the Pearl. A TP is coming in from Lodestone, but there's just no catch to hold them in place for Lodestone to get here in time, so that port is unfortunately not going to accomplish a lot. And Legion will be very happy with that. They get a kill, and they force a TP from the top lane to the bot lane.
I think also, I don't think like Pyromancer has to feel like he has to do something in this game. I think if he gets like an early spell shards, he can probably successfully just outfarm most of the heroes on the Hellborn side with the early game that they're all having. So,
yeah, we have a lot of pressure top lane from the Solstice. He's constantly going behind the tower here. The tower is almost down, and this is nighttime, by the way, so he doesn't have that splash to quickly clear out the creep waves. We did have Engineer TP up here. Lodestone is going to spot him and use a Rocket Drill stun, but they can't really deal with him, just the two of them at the moment.
What do you think about him going for the match spreads? Like,
It's not really a build that I'm a fan of personally, but he might be able to make this work by utilizing some ganks now. He ports into the mid lane. He's going to go on the Armadon here. Already half life, and that's a very quick kill. Didn't need the Lunar Judgment there either, or the Pyro ulti. They had a lot of extra damage. And meanwhile, bot lane, the Sunder's Vault comes out, taking out Pearl. I think she had her leap maybe up still, maybe not. Calamity's gonna get countered on here, but this could be a big sacrifice. Lodestone gonna get hit by that weird field as Hammerstorm went down. It's a double tap coming out from Myrmidon. They do have the Prophet ultimate coming out. Lodestone is pretty tanky though for these two supports to deal with.
Very tanky.
With low HP, he's still got about 300 to 400, so he will be fine.
They also took the
level. Yep.
They took the engineer down in the middle lane as well, so actually, yeah.
Ooh, that as well, so that's a lot of kills back and forth. It's 8-6 now, and I think it was once something like 0-4, so, I mean, the Hellborn is actually getting some more kills across the board to kind of even it out a little bit, but with the tower kill in the mid lane falling, the goalie now just jumped to 4.6k for Legion in their favor. Kegstun stops the TP of Pyromancer. He must have popped that invis after porting because he got spotted there. There was no vision at all. But from the high ground, I think he was spotted by the engineer. So, unfortunately, not able to utilize that invis rune. He was looking to gank somewhere. Dive coming in. Keg misses, unfortunately. Bot lane. Calamity's playing in the tower very aggressively positioned, but nothing happening just yet. So he does have one Knuckles charge picked up on the Solstice, and he just went for an Energizer. Okay, very unconventional build, but a lot of early game items. He wants this tower. Stun comes in from the Hammerstorm into the Keg stun turret. It's going to slow him up, but he counters. Lots of damage coming in. Lunar Judgment does land. I think he could have probably secured that kill, but he decided to play it passively there. Play it safe. And Engineer will walk away. There are Pyromancer and Myrmidon in the area now, but being spotted on this Ward of Sight placed from the Engineer. So the TPs are coming in from Gr8t. Let's see if they can counter here. Hammerstorm comes in. The push from the Pearl gets him out of the Widfield range. Pyromancer is going to go down. The Shatterstorm hits onto Myrmidon as Solstice getting pushed from the Pearl and Kegged getting knocked left and right. And now he's on the run. Myrmidon also going to maybe try to throw a weed field out. Throws a carp, hits 3 players, but I think he's going to sacrifice himself here. Say, focus me, do not chase the Solstice. I am okay with dying. I'm only level 4. As he might even just try to die to the hard camp. They actually stopped chasing him. This is actually wild. They do spot him out there. He's going to fall. So it doesn't deny himself, but does create a lot of space. They take the bot tower while this was happening on the side.
Yeah, it definitely created some space, but and like they obviously got some kills on the Hellborn side, but I feel like it doesn't really solve the issue that they're sitting with right now, where the Hammerstorm is sitting on 240. Oh, he's actually getting initiated on here by the Solstice, and he's going to take the tower.
Very nice. And he might even fall here. The damage from the blinding rays doing some dot damage, 50 HP. He's going to get healed up from the Pearl. Can they even bring down this Solstice here? I don't think they have the damage on these heroes. Armadon is here with Pearl, but they might just be able to man up. Carp's coming in from Armadon. Weefield doesn't miss, unfortunately, but there's the Energizer. He goes in with the stun on the Armadon. He's getting very low, but they are countering on the Solstice. He might have overstayed his welcome.
Nice.
Choosing to go in there. They do bring him down. Now Myrmidon might also be in trouble. He waveforms away. Pyromancer is baiting. Yes, there is a buyback. Good spot there on the Solstice. He ports to the top lane. Pyromancer, but he does hit the back of Armadon with this combo, and it's not going to do a lot of damage. Solstice going to run into Hammerstorm here. They need to turn their attention. Pyromancer not even going to be needed. Solstice takes him out. So good buyback in the end. And now Pearl will go down to the Phoenix Wave, following up the stun. Armadon says, I gotta get out of here, ports from the trees. This fight is not done, FoC. The Engineer is getting dove in the tier 2 tower. That poor Engineer.
This is really starting to spiral out of control for the Hellborn side. I'm kind of very concerned about Hammerstorm's ability to come back into this game. It's becoming increasingly more difficult for him because he's just a hero that like just primarily just auto attacks. So his inability to do so will kind of start to be an issue.
Sitting on 260 GPM currently. And the Tricore of Legion all above 400 currently.
Yeah.
And the buyback doesn't look like it's really hurting Solstice too much. He's still got 1k gold. Still top GPM in the game.
Starting to look very
Bro
difficult
leaps
for
in
him.
very aggressively here. Just gonna get counter-stunned by the Solstice, nuked down by the Pyromancer now. Engineer also gonna get walked down by the supporting cast. Pyro gonna get turned on here though. Goes down to the Armadon. Hammer assisting there, I think, with a hammer throw.
They might actually kill both of them here with Armadon. Maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah, Hammer is just a sitting duck here. That's a good rocket drill stun from the Lodestone.
But he
I
missed
don't think they have enough follow-up here. They're gonna take out the Lodestone as well. Armadon, can he survive this? It's really low on mana, so can't really spine pressure back. He's gonna go down to the Prophet there. The nukes take him out.
So a big issue of that fight was that the Lodestone actually, his Shadowstone blew off before he actually managed to rocket drill into the Solstice. So he didn't manage to do his combo, which kind of made him charge in with no armor as well as dealing no damage. So
oh no,
it could have gone either way.
That's unfortunate.
Definitely could have gone the other way if he had managed to connect with that Shadowstorm. So.
Yeah, it looked like Solstice was quite low at the end of that fight too, so
Yeah.
that would have amplified his combo a little bit more. Perhaps they would have been able to bring him down.
I think they would have.
I will say it is quite hard to land those combos without the PK.
For sure. Yeah,
Calamity is getting a little overconfident here. I think it's the best way to put it. Sticking around in the Hellborn jungle. Maybe stealing some of the stacks. I didn't even see if they had stacks, but he was farming those camps. And, well, he paid for it with his life.
Yeah, so Hellborn is currently playing against a 12k goal lead from the Legion side. Which will definitely be a challenge to overcome, but he getting a pick-offs like that, maybe?
Yeah, that was a 450 GPM Calamity that fell. That gave, how much gold? 400 to Hammerstorm. So he's just about to finish his Elder Parasite now. That'll amp his damage up quite a bit. So we have an Ice Brand picked up. Yeah. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, exactly. What do you think he's going to build into a Frozen Light, or do you think he's going to go for like a Frostwolf Frontline, kind of slow his enemies build? Actually, I really like it.
I think a Frostwolf Skull would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like it because it definitely allows them to hunt the Hellborn side more easily, and they are like kind of in the need of a frontliner who can like kind of run down people for the Legion side. And I think that he would be perfect with the Frostwolf here. So I think that's actually a decent pickup here.
He can after he uses the wolves to scout them, he can root them and then lock them down in his own ultimate if he doesn't get stunned. That's a very big if though.
Yeah. Also, armor is not nearly as valuable here when you're playing as a Lodestone. So like just tanking up with like a bunch of strength or health is just it's a good way to tank up in general. So
he's actually almost 2,000 HP. That is quite a lot for this part of the game. We have a TP's coming in bot lane. They want to set up some kills. Thunder's Vault locks down the Engineer. Pearl will just leap out of there. She doesn't care, but she's trying to stick around to maybe provide some assistance. She throws out her Preservation, but she will get caught here anyway. So the two supports fall. Trying to do some counter pushing, but they get punished with, well, that was a 5-man rotation coming out from Legion. And they might even find some Ancients here to steal with the Solstice.
That'll be very nice. The Pyromancer is closing on his peak as well, so it's going to give them even more pick-off potential. Just going to make it increasingly more difficult for this Hammerstorm to make his recovery. Although he's starting to like climb about 300 GPM. He's finished his Elder Parasite. His score is not like terrible. They are like kind of slowly falling behind even further in net worth, but it's also a little bit challenging because the Lodestone is just so far from his PK because he opted to go for the Helm route. But like he went Helm, Chalice, Investments, which is just so much gold invested into those items.
I didn't even realize they did Legion Kongor. I completely missed that. That's a token on Calamity actually.
Okay.
I actually did not even notice that. I will be.
They're going to close out this game now.
Yeah, this is a very hard push to defend, I would say. I mean, it will give them the base advantage for a Lodestone ulti, perhaps. But without PKs on the Engineer or the Load, it will be very hard to get this coordinated.
The issue is also that Lodestone is not like... I mean, he is Initiation, but he's not the greatest at Initiation at all. So, like,
He's channeling the Shadow Storm. Goes in a little bit early, but I think he will get it off. It hits too. Token is down from Calamity. They took out the Prophet already, and Calamity is back up in the fight.
Just gonna put me up as well.
There's an Abersunder's Vault here to lock them down. Now Solstice trying to reset. Engineer Field is going to miss. Solstice getting completely held down here. Wheatfield hits onto 2 though. Might buy some time. Solstice does get nuked down though. Preservation comes out. They're keeping the Hammerstorm alive. He's trying to turn around to man up and right click. He gets a kill, and he will not be able to outrun the Dragons though from Calamity as she's in the middle of the fight, putting a lot of pressure onto the support. She takes out the Pearl. Calamity is now on the run. 28 life. Armadon gets the snot on him, and Lowstone gets in range for the head smash, takes him out. So it is a full genocide, yeah, and they brought down the token, so technically 6 kills all in all as Prophet respawns there in the end.
They did use a buyback on the Lowstone though, so that is worth keeping in mind. But he is closing in on his PK. As I was saying, the Hellborn, they don't really have I mean, Lowstone does have initiation, but it's not like the most. He generally prefers if someone else initiates and then he can like kind of follow up with his Shadow Storm afterwards instead of having to like go in as the first person, which you kind of want at some point to have the PK on the Hammerstorm. But he just needs to Shrunken first, and he might not even go for the PK afterwards. Maybe just wants to like tank up with a Frostbolt or something like that. So.
Yeah, 1.5 second stun on the rocket drill is not all that impressive as far as like setting up ganks with the other teammates, especially when you have like an engineer who has like a delayed ability. So
the main issue becomes when Legion side starts having Shrunkens, then the rocket drill just isn't really like a guaranteed stun. You kind of need to rely on the Hammerstorm getting the PK stun. So of course they are far from that at this point. So maybe. The Armin just finished his barrier, which is very nice.
Yep, that's a big boost to their teamfight presence. I actually don't know if I don't think he had that in the last fight, but they did win that fight with a buyback. So now that he has that, that's gonna soak a lot of spell damage from the next team fight, hopefully.
Yep.
Some Myrmidon going for tablet, probably.
I hope that the Legion side they're not too discouraged by that fight.
Might be overextending here. He does have the team support nearby. Here comes the Solstice ultimate being channeled. It's gonna hit onto 3 or 2, and they take out the Armadon and the Pearl. Not Lowstone just exposed himself. He's getting dove here. Dies very quickly. Engineer Field gonna thwart them back. They're gonna kill the gadget there, and then just get on out of there. But the damage I think was already done.
And you have to keep in mind that this was a 4 versus 5 fight with the Calamity pushing bot the entire time, so that was
True, yeah, he was bot, so if they had that Sunder's Vault, probably would have been a genocide.
Yeah.
Can he man up here on the hammer? I think the hammer's too strong, right?
But the engineer's coming as well. I think he's just better off just running while his team is just pushing top lane. Maybe he can like kind of fuck with the hammer.
Look at the damage. Oh, doesn't have enough though.
Do you reckon if you ultied, what's the duration before the ulti actually goes off?
I think it's like 3 seconds. I don't actually know. I'm just guessing.
It's just 1.9 seconds, I think. Maybe he could have ultied then and killed the hammer, but maybe that's also a big if, so maybe it's not worth choosing.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure. So maybe he was thinking I'll just save it for the next team.
I think it's fine, especially when you're pushing. You use it to kind of cut them off when they're trying to chase you. So I think it's fine.
So they got the melee racks top, while a hammer had to go regen at the base because we just saw him very low. They didn't have him there to defend, and the other 4 minus Calamity were still very strong. They took out the tower and the melee racks. So Calamity did distract for quite a bit of time there. And well, they were able to get the Prophet, a consolation prize at the end of that. A little bit of gold to Pearl. Nothing really too great, unfortunately.
This game is looking very difficult for the Hellborn team. They really need to finish up the PK on the Lowstone. They need to get the Shrunken on the Hammerstorm. But even then, you like the Calamity finish her Dawnbringer, which is one of those items that makes her really strong, allows her to kind of stay in the back line and just slow her opponents while still having really good flexibility and moon speed damage. And the Pyromancer also has this like kind of core PK spell charts.
Oh, Pyro stun whiffing there. Lemony gets hit with a rocket drill stun. She gets tableted by the Myrmidon. Very good tablet there. Good Reedfield lands onto Lowstone and Pearl. They take both of them out with the follow-up burst damage. Thunder's Bolt locks all three, and here comes the Soul's Assault. Boom goes the Dynamite. 1 goes down, 2 goes down, and Armadon, he's tanky, but boy, did his team evaporate around him. He is going to fall. That'll do it for game number 1. As Hmnos, Yaipen, I'm probably saying that name wrong, but I'm trying my best. They will take game number 1 here. But again, this is a best of 3, so we're not done just yet.